everyone, so I just finished watching Superman Red Sun. This was an adaptation of one of Mark Millar's comics from the DC Elseworlds collective, and basically what this movie is and what that comic was it kind of asked the question is, what if Superman wasn't raised in America? What if, instead of his pod landing in Kansas, if it landed in a Ukrainian collective farm? And if instead of basically Superman fighting for the American way, he becomes a champion of the common worker who fights for Stalin's socialism and the international expansion of the Warsaw Pact. Right off the bat, I do really like all of the DC animated films, especially the Elseworlds, where it kind of asks these almost what if questions, kind of like what we're going to get from Marvel in a few months with their what if series, and seeing kind of all these different iterations of these characters. We have Superman, who, like I said, he becomes a champion of the Soviet people, and when he was younger, when he realized this power, he realized this was a power for the people and socialism, and it's a way to basically bring Russia together and expand socialism. You can see that with when he worked with Stalin, they're able to bring all these ideas to the East, or bring it west from Russia and expand their ideals, where in the States, Luther pretty much becomes president, and he is America's last hope to stop the Red Terror, is what they describe it at this time. He's married to Lois Lane at this point, and later on too, we get to see Wonder Woman, who's basically a diplomat for Themyscira, and she wants to create basically a peace pact with Superman. We also get to see Green Lantern Corps in this movie in a very different way, where it's basically Hal Jordan leading a military force for the US, and that's what the Green Lantern Corps ends up being. We also get to see a very different iteration of Batman, where it's not like the Bruce Wayne we all know, but when he was younger, he was put in some of Stalin's gulags and camps and watches his parents die, and basically grows up wanting to undo everything Superman does, and he kills without a hinge. This is a very, I do have to say, badass but very different version of Batman that, like I said, it's not your Bruce Wayne. It's a very different Batman. He's out here killing. He's basically a terrorist trying to undo everything that Superman has done in this movie. The animation is very similar to all the other DC animated films that we've seen in the past, but I like that style. It's very slick, it's drawn well. The action is illustrated very, very well. It's fast paced. We get to see Superman, like a Superman-like being called Superior Man, made by Lex Luthor, fights with Superman, and I think that was my favorite fight, just in terms of the choreographing that they had to do for this fight. It was very slick and fun to watch, and the music is always stellar as well in these DC movies. I really like two other timelines spans over 50 years. We got to see a bunch of different events. We basically get to see young Batman from a young age rise up to become the man who he wants to take down. Like, we follow Superman for a long, long time, and we get to see the relationship between him and Wonder Woman strife, how his expansion and America's expansion kind of clash and come together. It is very, very well done to see this timeline all come and unfold, and Superman's journey in this is really, really well done too, where he's still kind of that champion but just from a different nation, and I thought they did a very good job illustrating how he would have been shaped and how he would have shaped Russia if he was from the Soviet Union. The one thing I do have to say about this movie that hindered a little bit is that the ending, it does differ from the original comic a little bit, and it fell a little flat for me in this film, where it's just kind of a blanket quick ending. It is a happy ending, and it is something too that is good for the characters in the movie, but just kind of watching it from an outside perspective, and also too knowing the ending of the original comic, it fell a little flat for me just because of how simplistic and, like I said, how blanketed it was. But yes, a lot happens in this movie. It is wildly entertaining. It's just a little over an hour and 20 minutes long, and the entire time I was having a lot of fun watching this film and seeing, basically, like I said, Superman's journey progress, and seeing all of these different iterations of the characters come together, and they did a really good job making it makes sense, and it is a very faithful adaptation to the source material, so I was very happy to see that. So with all of this taken together, I have to give Superman Red Sun a 7.5 out of 10. This was a very well done movie, and I think too it was, aside from the ending, it is one of the better DC animated movies and definitely one of the better DC Elseworlds movies that they've done ever. I did really enjoy it, and that's why I have to give a pretty big recommendation to this movie. So yeah, awesome. I would highly recommend this and just definitely check it out. It is a very fun movie. But yes, let me know what you guys thought about Superman Red Sun. Also too, let me know kind of what other DC Elseworlds move or DC Elseworld comics you want to see adapted into movies in the future. And as always, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, and awesome guys, go check out this movie.